Welcome to this episode of Honestly Speaking, where we try to navigate our way through the world without compromising our religious integrity. And I got a really special guest with me today. Uh, One of my uncles, one of my family members. I love him very much. This is Mr. Marcus Calloway.
What's up, man?
I'm good. How you been?
I'm been good.
You been
I'm
good? Been good?
Yeah. It's good.
Nice. Oh, and shout out to my man in the chair, Anthony over there, as always. But anyways, I wanted to get you in here because I like the knowledge that you have on certain things. And today I wanted to talk about, it's actually a previous subject that I'm going back to you because I got you in here, which is masculinity, femininity, and gender roles in 2023, and if they're necessary or not. And I say that because, as you can see all over TV, the news, media, music videos, there's a lot of weird stuff on there. You see dudes dressing like girls and women being more masculine and saying how they don't need men or don't want men, and you're seeing a lot of same sex relationships and all of this, and you're seeing trans and all of these different things that are becoming more normalized. So with that being said, how do you feel about that, the landscape today in the world compared to when you were younger?
It's a lot different compared to when I was younger. I think when I was younger, the men pretty much set the standard, and that was it. But they also they went to work. You see them go to work. You see them take care of the household. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, we have our occasional
single parent home where the mom has to do everything.
But even they were strong, and I can speak that from experience because I came up in a single parent home.
Yeah,
and it was 7 of us. Now don't get it twisted.
7 plus. Because sometimes me and Shima and Deja, whoever was up in there too.
Yeah, that's true. But as I was saying, don't get it twisted. There were times, man, when I would have liked for it to be a 2-parent home. That's not to take nothing away from Mom, because she did a hell of a job.
Shout out to Granny. I think she did good too. This morning, I had a conversation. Right, we was talking hip hop. I love hip hop. If you know me, you know I love music, movies, and animation, or any form of art, basically.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So we're talking about this artist, JID, right? And he showed up to, I believe it was, might have been, I think it was the BET Awards. And he had on a dress, a scarf, and a t-shirt that said, "Free the Youth." Mm-hmm. When you visualize that, what image do you think? What message does that send?
It makes me question his masculinity, of course.
Hold that just for a second. You say it questions his masculinity, but if you listen to his music, he's like Kendrick Lamar, but without the soft spokenness.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Without that safe presentation.
Right.
So for you to say, if you see him, he looks this way, but if you listen to him, you think another way.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, because I haven't heard any of his music.
Yeah.
So
he's actually super dope.
I mean, and I'm just basing that just off appearance, the description that you gave. So yeah.
So when you see that, you think feminine.
Yeah. I think he got some feminine ways.
So do you think that that's pushing a message of sorts? Because I mean, when we were growing up, or at least when I was growing up, I can give you one better. Because you were one of the people that introduced me to hip hop in the first place. Yeah. I remember when I was a little kid, we were walking down the street and he was playing Rob bass. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, this is great. And I was little. Yeah. So then I got older and I was there when Snoop Dogg hit the scene.
Yeah.
And now you see Snoop Dogg then and you're like, gangster, West Coast, hardcore rap. You see Snoop Dogg now, he got French pedicures and Yeah.
Yeah.
All kinds of using skin products, and you don't think gangster no more. And he does some suspect stuff, even though he's married with like 4 or 5 kids. Sometimes you see him and he's a little suspect.
Yeah.
Do you think there's an agenda being pushed to maintain their relevancy, or do you think it's just how the world is now?
I think it's more about how the world is right now. My father-in-law and I were talking the other day, and we were just talking about the times, and I don't want to get off topic, but he asked me, he said, do you think it's the time or the people? And
People.
yeah, I told him, I said, you know what? The seasons come. In a few more months, it's going to be fall, then it's going to be winter, then it's going to be spring, then it's going to be summer again. So it ain't the time. It's the people. It's the people. So, time brings about a change in people, man.
Having a household full of men, because I mean, you're raising 3 boys, right?
Right.
If you okay, I know they're your children, but they're older.
Right.
If you and Tamika have another child,
Mm-hmm.
and you're raising this child in this world, and they come home, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna pick up stuff from school.
Right.
So if you're teaching them one thing and they're doing something else, you still think that's the people of the world? Because for me, I didn't mean to cut you off, but because for me, growing up, I remember one of my other uncles used to give me a hard time because my very first friend was white.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was Dustin. I know you remember Dustin.
Yeah, I remember Dustin.
And he used to trash me all the time. Why you hanging with this white boy? And blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if it was more of I wasn't trying to, the more he did that, the more it made me want to
gravitate.
Yeah. It's like, well, you know what? He my friend. I ain't trying to hear nothing you got to say. But if he had just been like, whatever.
And I think I think it's the people.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question earlier, I think it's the people because these are taught behaviors, whatever it is that these children come home with or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? That they learn that somewhere, that those are taught behaviors. So I believe it's the people.
So do you believe that when they take religion out, they're starting to phase religion out throughout the world?
Mm-hmm.
They don't even want you to say, at school, they don't want you to talk about it. Even when you do the Pledge of Allegiance and all that, you can't say under God no more. Do you think the lack of religion is affecting this in any way? Or do you feel like you can separate those?
I believe it's tradition versus religion, because we were brought up a certain way to believe certain things. We took it at face value to be so. Now, with that being said, once you get older and you start to see some things that don't line up, you understand what I'm saying? And I just want to put it out there that don't line up with your spirit. We began to like, okay, hold on.
This is weird.
Absolutely.
But what's weird to me ain't weird no more to everybody else. And I think that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I don't hate gays and lesbians. I have a friend that's a lesbian.
Right.
But when they are together, it's weird. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the generation after me, or I won't say after me, but maybe after like Deja. So like maybe 2 generations, this newest generation, the 90s babies, right? Yeah. It's not weird to them.
Right.
So is that because of the upbringing? Because at this point, religion is out the picture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So do you think that's because, like, if I have a kid, they're gonna be raised. My kid is gonna struggle in this world. That's probably why I'm kind of hesitant and I haven't had one. To be honest, the more I think about it, it just kind of hit me. I was like, man, that has a lot to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas kids, the people having kids now, they like don't care. You know?
Man, to be honest, I really think it goes back to the breakdown of the household. We talking about gender.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that a child coming from a 2-parent home has a better chance at success than a child coming from a single-parent home. That's not to say that children can't succeed or have the same equal amount of success as a child coming from. I'm just speaking percentage-wise.
I agree.
I believe that.
I agree. But I wouldn't say 2-parent home, because in my situation, it's a lot of kids that are in my situation. Where single mom, but they have a lot of male influences. Like I had like 5. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had you, Talim, Theo, Reggie, and some other people. So I think I agree with you saying, but for those that are going to be like, I don't know about that, I feel like if you have male and female influences in the proper areas, you can be successful. Just for those who out there that gonna be like, no, that ain't right, because I raised my son this way,
Right?
You know, and this goes back to gender roles, because women will be like, I don't need no man to raise my son. You know what I'm saying?
And that's I think is even more so important for the child to see the male and the female play the mother and the father role,
right?
Versus the young male getting it from an uncle or a cousin or whatever. I think it's more important for him to get it from his father. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the uncle or the cousin or the brother can't
for the record,
instill something positive into the child.
For the record, my father was there, but when him and my mom separated, I only got my father in the summertime. So don't go thinking my dad's a deadbeat or anything, because he's not. Anyways, back to it.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
But
just wanted to put that out there for y'all be like, hey now, don't go trashing my dad, because my dad is awesome. Anyway, just say it.
I think that it's important for a male to see the older male in that father position, in the position of the father. That's just an undeniable amount of respect that he has for.
Do you think you can separate the person from the entertainment, or the person from the job? Because like, I'll use Snoop Dogg because he was one of my favorite artists all time. I had every single Snoop Dogg album up till like after like album number 9, because that's when he started getting weird.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I could either take this for what it is, right, and be like, oh yeah, this is a amazing piece of work, and not question what he's saying to what he's doing, kind of like actors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or, but since he says, you know, he's supposed to be keeping it real.
Yeah.
If I take it as that, that means what he's saying, that makes me question everything. Like, okay, so what else do these people do behind closed doors?
Right. I think it's important to be able to separate the two.
Okay. So that goes back to the JID thing. Since he's doing this and saying this, because if I separate him, I can still listen to this man's music and be like, yo, he's one of the hottest out. But when I see him in his day-to-day, it makes me question, like, okay, now I feel like a hypocrite, because I'm saying one thing And I see him doing this, and I'm still supporting him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my issue with like Kendrick Lamar. You know, he's saying this, but he's doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's portraying himself as a god, right? But you saying you're about the church and all of this up to a point, and then all of a sudden you're saying you're that God and you should please me. That's the same thing Jay-Z does. That's why I stopped listening to him. I mean, he even said in one of his songs, like, God ain't got nothing to do with this. I'm doing this. I mean, he calls himself Jehovah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that right there makes me like, man, this whole time I'm growing up and this is in my head. You know what I'm saying? What are these kids thinking? You know?
Yeah.
And then you got women raising their kids this way, right? Not all women and men actually, with the gender neutrality, you know? And now we have to be acceptance of this lifestyle, that lifestyle. And I'll give you an example about why I don't agree with changing yourself from boy to girl or girl to boy. I saw, it may have been 4 days ago, there was a trans, it was a man transitioning to a woman, right? So at this point, it was to the point where he could go into the women's bathroom, right? But his body parts wasn't all the way gone yet.
Yeah.
So he got excuse my lack of words, but he had a boner going into this women's bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's like, okay, what if there's a little girl in there? You know?
Mess her head up. She gonna be confused.
She gonna be like, what?
She gonna be confused. And that's important, you know, because it's almost as if they don't even get a chance.
And that goes into the quote you said earlier, if you want to read it.
The
first one you read. It actually goes directly into that.
Yeah. It says, what's missing for men in the church are spiritual fathers like the Apostle Paul. Without spiritual fathers to set the thermometer, we have an assembly line running out a feminized version of what it means to be a man and calling him nice and helpful rather than strong and responsible.
Exactly. So with that being said, we said it's generating feminized men. So with that going on in the world, you got men literally wanting to be women with the trans thing, and you got other men that claim to be, that are supposed to be the leaders. Like you got Drake on Instagram showing off his pink nails that he just got, talking about his swag. You know what I'm saying? That's not cool, because now it's gonna be a bunch of little boys running around with fingernail polish. I say that and people are like, oh no, it's not, but just wait, give it a month. You're gonna see a bunch of little dudes fingernail polish. I mean, the emo kids already do it. But see, now it's like you gotta have a chain, you gotta have a car, you gotta have money, you gotta have a nail polish. You see what I'm saying? It's becoming normalized. So for me, it bothers me.
I mean, of course, it ain't hard to see what's going on, you know, and that's why we talking about the 3 boys that I was raising. They grown now, they finna move. But I would always keep it real with them, man, you know, and I would tell them, you know, if I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything for you, you know, about out there, outside the house. You understand what I'm saying? Because if I tell you one thing and what I'm telling you, you go out there and see something totally different, now you finna come back looking at me like, okay, where does that level of respect for me go now? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you gave me this cotton candy picture, you know, this fairy tale.
You
understand what I'm saying? And when I get out there, you know, hey, and I tell them that because I even go as far as here. The streets not gonna play with you. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna play with you about what it is that I know about life through experience.
I actually wanted to get into your life experience, but I didn't know how deep you wanted to go in there because I know you've been through a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
do know that all of that you went through, I mean, not
Mhm.
went through,
Yeah,
made you turn to God, right?
right.
How can you
It
try to
it
verbalize how?
I don't think it really made me turn to God.
Mhm.
Uh, I think it just made me. Uh, it made me seek Him more. It gave me. It gave me my own experience
So you're saying it was
as a
necessary
result of
to
that.
give you that
For me,
push? Yeah.
for me,
Okay.
you
So
know. Uh,
can you try to verbalize how like the difference between how you were then and now, as far as functioning, your thought process?
mm,
You can kind of like
mm,
paraphrase it.
uh, I care more about me now. Uh, I realize that I'm the most important person in my life. I have
Mhm.
to be. Uh, and I say for me, based on the experiences and all things that I've been through, uh, because I realize when I put me first, you understand what I'm saying? Then I'm a better service to those who are connected to me. Uh,
So what he's saying is that he had to care for himself enough in order to uplift everyone else around him.
yeah,
Was that
yeah.
right?
Uh,
Because when you say I put me first, some people are gonna take that as, oh,
no,
he's
no,
being
no, no, no,
selfish.
no, no, not at all. Selfish in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, you
Selfish
have
in
to
a
put you
humbled
first.
selfish in a humbled way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Selfish in a humble way. That's not because I know what it is, you know, uh, to be selfish,
Mm.
you know. Uh, uh, and I didn't realize that. You understand what I'm saying? That's another thing that uh, uh, getting closer to God made me realize. It showed me some truths about me
Mhm.
that I didn't think were real. I didn't think existed. You understand what I'm saying? Like I just got through saying, I was selfish and didn't even realize it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as a result of the things that I went through and getting closer to God because of what I was going through, I got that. I get those truths about me, and I believe the growth is when I'm able to accept them. You know,
Ask you a question. Who's your favorite artist right now? It can be, well, not gospel, like secular artist. Who's your favorite secular artist? This first one that pops in your head that you listen to sometimes or all the time. I don't know.
the Isleys.
The Isleys. When you listen to their songs, what's the main subject they talking about? Sex, right? Think
Somewhat.
about the lyrics.
I,
I'm
I,
thinking
I'm
about
thinking.
some right now.
I'm thinking about them.
It's
Okay.
sex.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So if the Isleys, I don't know if all of them are still alive, but if they have a concert right now,
Yeah.
are you gonna go?
Absolutely.
Okay. I say that to say, cause I asked this to everybody. Well, not everybody, but I asked this to like my mom and and Reggie. I asked it to Reggie too, because I saw this thing where a pastor, he was about to go to this Beyonce concert,
Mhm.
and he had just did a sermon on how negative the energy she's putting out and the stuff she's doing on stage and the imagery she's projecting. But he got these concert tickets, and some people, a lot of people was like, "Man, you shouldn't go." But instead, he was like, I'm gonna say a prayer and I'm gonna go. Right? So that's why I was asking you. I was like, if you know that this is this way, are you gonna go or not? Because one girl, she went and she didn't even stay. She ended up leaving. She said it was just too much in her. It was bothering her spirit, so she like left.
Wow.
So that's why I was like, because for me personally, it's hard because like I like a lot of music, and if certain artists come, I'm gonna be like, man, I got these tickets. I'm probably gonna go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I believe even in that, he was teaching a lesson. He
You
was
think
teaching.
so?
Yeah. I believe that. I believe even in my wrong, I was teaching my sons a lesson of what not to do. You understand what I'm saying? Even in my wrong, they get an opportunity to, you know what it is up close and personal for yourself. You understand what I'm saying about decisions and choices that you make while you out there. You understand what I'm saying? So ain't nobody got to tell you about it. You know. Yeah, you got to experience that up close and personal with me. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side of that is, I'm also teaching you that no matter what it is that you go through in life, get up, dust yourself off, and let's get it.
Right on.
Don't nothing be the blank but a try.
For me, it's more about I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna go because it's like a bunch of stuff I wanted to do since I was a kid. I'll use WrestleMania as an example, right? Went last year. I know that characters like The Undertaker are gonna be there. And this dude is pretty much supposed to be the embodiment of death, right? And I know they're gonna give it this whole elaborate thing, and I know it's messed up and it's pretty blasphemous, right? I'm gonna go and I'm still cheering and having a good time, but in my head I'm like, this is theater. You know what I'm saying? That goes back to what I was saying earlier. If you're able to separate, because
that's entertainment.
Yeah, because lo and behold, Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, is saved. You know, and a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
he's a Christian, saved. He does TED Talks and everything.
Yeah.
So if he can play this character and separate it, you know. But then at the same time, he's not pushing an agenda. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's an actor. So I guess that was a bad example because I was going to say artists, you should be able to do that with artists too because you can't. But now that I realize you can't do it with artists because they're sitting here and they're writing this stuff down.
Right.
So they're aware of the message they're sending. Whereas when you're acting, you can turn it off and say, hey, that's a character. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was going to be a good example, but it ended up not being a good example.
I think it boils down to, I guess it comes with age maturing and whatnot. Like we talking about these artists. You have to be able to separate. Like you're talking about the two, but like I said, I believe that comes as you get older. Okay, man, this guy can't possibly be doing all of this that he talking about that he doing. You understand? It's obvious. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you have to
like
use some common sense.
Expand or exaggerating.
Yeah, this dude got a whole family, businesses to run, all of this other stuff. You understand what I'm saying that he's doing, but I believe that they so young. That like you said, this is what I want to be. I believe that this is who he is, and that's not.
I heard, or I don't want to say it wrong, but it was in Proverbs. Basically, what it was saying that God won't hand you or won't give you riches until you're ready to handle it. You know what I'm saying? I know it's in Proverbs, but I don't know exactly where.
Just read something
So when I see some of these young guys, these kids, I know they're gonna be like, man, you young yourself, but I'm really not. I'm 40, so I'm not that young. When I see these kids and that's what I think of. I was like, well, maybe they just wasn't ready for these all this crazy amount of money you getting and the attention that comes with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's actually one of my other favorite artists, Commander, that said he has a whole song about it, talking about I'd rather be rich than be broke and famous. You know what I'm saying? So if you could just, in other words, if you could just work hard, get your money like that without all of that nonsense, he'd rather do that. You know what I'm saying?
Man, the entertainment world is
Tough. But you know what? That's what shapes the minds of the people in the world.
they do. They
Culture.
They don't realize some of them may do realize how much influence.
I think they're aware.
Have. Man,
Like, takes me back to Drake. I
but
think
do they
he's the
really
one.
know the impact though.
When you can go to you can have a show, right? And it's 30, 40,000 people in there to see you. And when you stop, they keep singing your songs. I think they're aware of the impact they have. But when you can go, I remember watching an old DMX performance at a Lollapalooza, and it was a sea of people, white people. It was like no black folks out there, you know what I'm saying? And he could start rapping and then stop, and it was people as far as I can see
in unison,
and they rapping the song in unison. You know what I'm saying? And he just doing the ad libs at this point, and they just going and going. That's power. You know what I'm saying? But what's crazy is that when he'd stop in the middle of the show, dead set, and do a prayer. Because, you know, on his albums, he do them prayers. He'd stop in the show and just do one. And they would sit there in silence. And as soon as he does his prayer, people's out there crying. And he'd say, amen. And then they just go crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So that's power.
It is.
But I don't think that, I don't think that most artists are going to use their gifts for that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's basically like, I'm saying all this crazy stuff in my songs, but this is what it is. Because he'd give a speech before he does the prayer to clarify. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of artists could do that, but they don't. You know what I'm saying?
Man, DMX was
something else.
He was another level, man.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess maybe they feel like they gonna get killed or something, like Tupac.
But he kept it. You talking about keeping it real?
Too real.
Kept it real. You know, about
with everything, his drug problems and all his issues,
who he was, what he was going through, real everyday life issues. You understand what I'm saying?
When I think of artists keeping it real, that's what I think of, because you can see it. Everything he said, you could see it. Yeah. His drug addictions and him losing all his money and family issues he had and all the stuff with the law, you can see it. And that's the same thing. That's how I felt about Tupac. You know what I'm saying? He's saying all this stuff, but you seeing him get shot. You seeing him spit at the cameras and go to jail and give that compelling speech he gave in the courtroom to the judge, only for the judge to say, I'm still locking you up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And all of that. Whereas with artists today, you don't see that. So it's like, okay, you're doing it for the check? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did you really sell out for this money?
And I believe they could, artists like DMX, those people could relate to him on a whole other level because of how authentic he was. He wasn't hiding it. It was some of these things that people could feel. You know, hey, man, I may not be going through it, but I'm close to somebody that is, you know, and for you to have this type of platform and power and not allow it to take you away from you, it's easy to see how he could be as impactful.
Do you think
powerful as he was.
Do you think religion has a positive or negative effect in entertainment? Have you ever watched Snowfall?
No, my wife watches it.
Well, the main character, I watched the interview with him. My mom watched it with me, and he was like, he said he had to get into this mind state to be able to do this scene, because I guess he had to kill somebody or something crazy, right? And he says, I went into a corner and I turned off all the lights and I was facing the wall, and he literally says it. He's like, I called on Satan to come to me, get me in the mind state to do this scene. And he said he had nightmares for like a month after that. And he had to go through this whole thing with his grandmother. She had to like cleanse him. He had to go to church to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like, first of all, do you feel like he's telling the truth?
Yeah.
And do you feel like you have to do stuff like that to maintain your status in Hollywood? I call it Hollywood.
I believe you have to make a choice, man.
Is it worth it? You think it's worth it? If you had that opportunity to get $1 million or more, starting with $1 million and up, but you have to do certain things and you have to leave this behind, are you going to do it? I think about this every day. It's not just
what? I mean, people can say what they will and they won't do, but I think it's dependent upon. Sometimes it's dependent upon situations, circumstances, whatever type of position you might be in or whatever at the time. I can't say, what.
You know
Yay
what?
or nay, you understand what I'm saying?
At this point in my life, I can confidently say, because this is all about transparency, and I've actually had a pretty interesting life that people don't know about.
Yeah.
Because I don't really talk about it. Only people that really know is maybe my mom and granny.
Yeah.
And maybe Salim a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've had encounters to where it was like, I could do this right now and I could get all this money and I'd be straight, right? Knowing in the back of my mind it's probably going to have some consequences.
Yeah.
And back then, I was really, really about to do it. But now I can confidently say, not doing it. I don't even.
Yeah.
It's an easy no. Somebody could slide a check and say, oh, you got to do this. And don't do that church stuff no more. Right. I'm going to be like, no. Like straight up. I'm just going to be like, no, and I'm probably just going to walk away.
I mean.
But back then, I was like, I really put some thought into it. I ended up talking myself out of it, not obviously. But between then and now, if they had kept hounding me a little bit more back then, I would have did it. Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie. I would have done it. But I wasn't as in tune with myself or with my religion, with God, as I am now. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So if they had hit me up a couple more times, I would have did it. I would have been like, yup. Because that would have been an easy, I'm not even gonna say the amount because you're gonna be like, whoa. But yeah, they had counted me a little bit more. I would be like, yeah, I'll do it. I ain't really gotta do nothing. It's gonna be easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I think for me, knowing what I came through, what I've been through,
that's another thing with your walk of life. I imagine you've had opportunities where you could have done some foolish stuff, more foolish than you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you didn't do it.
Right.
That makes me happy. But
and and even now, I'll be walking somewhere, we'll be somewhere or whatever, in a certain situation or whatever, or remind me something, of my past.
Is it hard?
It's not.
It's not?
No.
I've always wanted to ask you that. I was like,
when you got a made up mind,
it
ain't hard, Let's just be real. The devil ain't gonna stop being who he is. He gonna continue to, he gonna continue to shoot his shot.
Yes, sir.
He gonna shoot that shot till the day that God call us home. But you know, at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about the decision.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'll be like, I'll see a certain situation or something, and I'll tell Mika, I said, "Ooh, thank God for change." Boy, I remember
For real.
I seen this like this.
So getting toward the end of this, because I don't know what our time is looking like, but to wrap, well, getting close to the end, you do feel that male influence is important in a child's life, like male and female.
Absolutely.
And you don't feel, I mean, I know you can do it by yourself, but it's a necessary, it increases your chances like 60%, basically, right?
Yeah. Man, wholeheartedly.
Have you ever been in a situation where you had to do the gender neutrality thing? Like you go to a restaurant or something and they're using, what do they call them? Adjectives instead of, you know what I'm saying? I've had that encounter a couple of times and I'm just kind of like, you know, I don't want to just be like, you're wrong, but you know.
Yeah, I tend to just kind of do the same thing. But back to that, man, you know, it is so important for us to be able to see the male in his masculinity.
That's keyword masculinity, people.
In our communities, man, right now. We need that so much, man.
When people wearing dudes wearing dresses and their fans try to justify it as, oh, it's a kilt, and in this culture they wear a kilt. We not Irish, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know too many black people that wear kilts, you know.
Either.
And they'd be like, oh, we're in Africa and they wear that, and I'm like, yeah, they do, but that's their culture and it's different. That's just like tattoos. That's a Samoan thing, but we took it. Some things you weren't meant to take. You know what I mean?
Right.
And plus, they're wearing those. That's war garments they're wearing. It's not like they just kicking in dresses all day. You know what I'm saying?
They have a whole nother
they go on to kill something.
reason
you know
for
what I'm
why
saying?
they, we pick up on it. It's just
Fashion. And the way it's presented is like, it's supposed to be a dress. It's not a kilt. You know what I'm saying? If they had to say, oh, this is a hip hop kilt and this, and this, it'd be different, but they're not. It's a skirt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Gender roles are important. There has to be guys and there has to be girls, or the world's going to be completely messed up. Yeah, I said it. Last question. What came first? The chicken or the egg?
The chicken.
Why?
Without the chicken, there could be no egg.
Okay. But if a chicken came from the egg, where did chicken come from? That's a fair question.
That's good. I'm going to have to get back to you.
Right on. I want to thank my uncle for making some time for me to come do this. And hopefully I can get the rest of them on at some point. I'm still trying to get, a couple of other people's. I got 3 more uncles I want to knock down, but they're hard to get down here. So once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Marcus, for coming through.
No problem.
Shout out to Anthony. He makes everything work. And catch you on the next one.